Today we've got a beautiful native that is blooming here in our shade garden. Now we're in early spring. It's about mid-March here in Oklahoma. And you can see that the celandine poppy, also known as the yellow wood poppy, is already up and blooming. In fact, it blooms a little bit early, even well before a lot of our other perennials have even begun to emerge out of the ground. What's really fun about this is not only the bright color adding some interest into that darker shade, but also you can see here it has 4 petals. And this is a characteristic of the poppy family, not exclusive to the poppy family, however, but it is a characteristic. Now, I say petals, but actually, botanically speaking, these are technically the sepals of this flower here. So after they're done blooming, they're actually going to produce kind of a fuzzy pod that will turn into seeds. Now, you don't have to worry about this plant being an aggressive seeder. However, it will reseed. In fact, they say that ants are kind of responsible for distributing those seeds. And so you'll find that it's not just the new seedlings are growing right underneath the mother plant. In fact, you might find them kind of some distance from the original plant. You can see here we have a few that are just kind of scattered back and forth around this plant. So you don't have to worry about it being aggressively reseeding. What's nice though is it does kind of create a repetition through your landscape of this plant as it evolves. Now the foliage will begin to emerge early on, and it's kind of got this basal growth, which means all the foliage sort of comes from a central location at the crown of that plant. You can see the foliage is heavily dissected, adding a really nice texture into the garden. It only gets to be about 1 foot tall, and so it's just pretty low maintenance. There are no pest problems really with this plant or disease problems either. And in fact, you won't even have a problem with the deer liking this plant because the foliage is toxic. Now, if you wanted to save the seeds on this plant, what you might want to do is cold stratify it. So either plant those seeds later in the fall as you go into that cold, moist season, or you can take some of those seeds and put them in a container with some potting soil and then put them in the refrigerator for a few weeks, several weeks, a period of time to, in fact, induce that germination on these plants. It is native, like I said, mainly to eastern United States because it likes that shade condition. You can see here, what's nice though is we are under a deciduous shade, meaning it gets more exposure when it's kind of taking center stage, but later on it's going to get a little bit more shade because it does need some moist conditions. However, it will tolerate dry conditions. You just might find that it actually goes dormant, but really later on in the season, it's going to get covered over with other perennials as well. So nothing to be too concerned about, pretty low maintenance. A nice addition to your shade garden here in Oklahoma, especially eastern Oklahoma.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.